Let me remind you of something pressure reveals long before success ever does. Pressure creates diamonds. Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. African proverb. Most people pray for greatness, but very few are willing to endure the pressure required to create it. Everyone wants the reward, the confidence, the discipline, the success, the transformation, but almost nobody wants the process because the process is uncomfortable. Pressure exposes everything. It exposes your habits, your discipline, your emotional control, your mindset. Pressure removes illusion. When life becomes difficult, you discover who you really are. Not who you pretend to be, not who you post online, not who you talk about becoming. Pressure reveals your foundation, and if your foundation is weak, pressure cracks it immediately. That is why so many people collapse under stress. Not because pressure is evil, because they never prepared themselves internally. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid pressure, avoiding responsibility, avoiding discomfort, avoiding risk, avoiding challenge. But avoiding pressure also avoids growth. Because growth requires resistance. Muscles grow through resistance. Discipline grows through resistance. Confidence grows through resistance. Everything powerful is forged under tension. The strongest version of you cannot be created inside comfort. Comfort preserves identity. Pressure transforms it. Frederick Douglass once said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." That statement applies to every area of life. Without challenge, there is no adaptation. Without adaptation, there is no evolution. Without evolution, there is stagnation. And stagnation slowly destroys potential. Pressure forces movement. Pressure forces awareness. Pressure forces decisions. Most people do not discover their strength until weakness is no longer an option. That is why difficult seasons often become transformational seasons. Because pressure removes distraction. It strips away illusion. Suddenly you stop caring about meaningless opinions. You stop wasting time. You stop drifting. Pain creates clarity. Pressure creates focus. When survival becomes emotional, the mind sharpens. That sharpening changes behavior. Many people hate the pressure they are under, without realizing it is shaping them into someone stronger. Steel is forged in fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and human beings are transformed through adversity. But transformation only happens if pressure is interpreted correctly. Most people interpret pressure as punishment. Strong people interpret pressure as preparation. That difference changes everything. The challenge is not the obstacle itself. The challenge is your relationship with discomfort, because discomfort exposes identity. If your identity is fragile, pressure overwhelms you. If your identity is disciplined, pressure strengthens you. This is why mindset matters so much. The same storm that destroys one person creates another, not because the storm changed, because interpretation changed. Viktor Frankl once wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Pressure often forces internal evolution. It pushes you beyond old limits, beyond old excuses, beyond old emotional patterns. That process feels painful because identity expansion always feels uncomfortable. The old version of you resists change. It wants familiarity. It wants certainty. It wants safety. But safety rarely creates greatness. Greatness requires adaptation. Adaptation requires pressure. Pressure forces hidden weaknesses into the light. Weak discipline becomes visible. Weak habits become visible. Weak emotional control becomes visible. That exposure is painful, but it is necessary because awareness creates correction. Correction creates growth. Growth creates strength. Most people quit during the pressure phase, not because they are incapable, because they mistake discomfort for failure. But discomfort is often evidence that transformation is happening. The gym hurts because muscles are adapting. Growth hurts because identity is stretching. Pressure hurts because weakness is being exposed. But exposed weakness can be strengthened. Ignored weakness becomes permanent. That is why difficult seasons matter. They reveal what comfort hides, and comfort hides laziness. Comfort hides emotional instability. Comfort hides distraction. Pressure reveals all of it instantly. And once revealed, you are forced to choose, evolve, or collapse. Many people pray for easier circumstances, but easier circumstances often create weaker people. Strength is built through challenge. Challenge creates resilience. Resilience creates endurance, and endurance creates separation. The people who succeed long term are rarely the people who had the easiest path. They are the people who adapted under pressure. They learned emotional control. They learned patience. They learned discipline. Pressure refined them. Bruce Lee once said, "Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one." Strength changes perception. Weak minds see pressure and panic. Strong minds see pressure and prepare. That preparation changes outcome. Most people break emotionally because they never learned how to regulate their mind under stress. Stress magnifies internal patterns. If your mind is chaotic, pressure amplifies chaos. If your mind is disciplined, pressure amplifies focus. That is why emotional mastery is critical. You cannot control every external circumstance, but you can train your internal response. That training creates stability. Stability under pressure becomes power. Real power is not loud. Real power is calmness inside chaos. The ability to think clearly when life becomes heavy. The ability to move intentionally when emotions rise. The ability to remain focused while others panic. That level of control changes trajectories. Pressure tests identity. If your identity depends on comfort, pressure destabilizes you. If your identity depends on discipline, pressure strengthens you. That is why disciplined individuals often appear calm under stress. Not because they don't feel pressure, because they train themselves to operate through it. Training matters. Everything in life is training. Your habits train your mind. Your routines train your focus. Your environment trains your emotions. And pressure reveals the quality of your training. That is why small disciplines matter. Waking up when you said you would, finishing tasks consistently, controlling impulses, remaining focused. These small actions strengthen internal structure. Internal structure creates resilience. Resilience creates endurance. Endurance creates breakthroughs, but breakthroughs rarely happen without pressure first. Pressure forces evolution. Think about your hardest seasons. Those moments changed you. The heartbreak, the setbacks, the failures, the uncertainty. You didn't leave those seasons the same person. Pressure reshaped your thinking, reshaped your priorities, reshaped your identity. That transformation was painful, but powerful. Most growth is uncomfortable while it is happening, because transformation requires destruction first. The old mindset must collapse. The old habits must die. The old emotional patterns must be challenged. Only then can something stronger emerge. Pressure accelerates that process. That is why some people emerge from struggle stronger, while others emerge bitter. The difference is perspective. Perspective determines whether pain becomes wisdom or permanent suffering. Suffering without reflection creates bitterness. Suffering with awareness creates growth. Growth creates wisdom. Wisdom creates stability. And stability under pressure becomes a competitive advantage. Most people cannot think clearly under stress. That alone creates separation. Calmness is rare. Discipline is rare. Self-control is rare. And rarity creates value. The strongest people are not always the loudest. Often they are the calmest, because calmness reflects internal mastery. Internal mastery cannot be faked. Pressure exposes authenticity immediately. That is why adversity is revealing. It reveals what performance hides. When life becomes difficult, masks disappear, excuses disappear, reality appears, and reality forces adaptation. The version of you that survives pressure is rarely the same version that entered it. Pressure changes identity. It changes standards. It changes focus. It changes priorities. Things that once mattered become irrelevant. Distractions lose power. Clarity increases. Purpose sharpens, because pressure strips away illusion. And illusion wastes energy. Once illusion disappears, truth becomes visible. Truth changes behavior. Behavior changes trajectory. The people who become extraordinary are not people who avoided struggle. They are people who use struggle strategically. They learned from it, adapted through it, built discipline inside it. Pressure became their teacher. And the lessons pressure teaches are lessons comfort never can. Comfort rarely teaches gratitude. Pressure does. Comfort rarely teaches emotional control. Pressure does. Comfort rarely teaches resilience. Pressure does. That is why difficult seasons often produce powerful people. Not automatically, but intentionally. because pressure alone does not guarantee growth. Response determines growth. You must choose to evolve, choose to adapt, choose to remain disciplined despite discomfort. That choice changes everything. Most people want confidence before pressure, but confidence is built through surviving pressure. Every challenge you endure successfully becomes evidence. Evidence that you can handle more. Evidence that you can adapt. Evidence that you are stronger than fear. That evidence compounds. Over time, resilience becomes identity. Identity changes behavior automatically. Now you stop panicking quickly. You stop reacting emotionally to every setback. You stop collapsing under temporary stress. Because pressure trained you. That training becomes power. The strongest version of you is not created during easy seasons. It is created during moments where quitting felt easier than continuing. And yet you continued. That continuation reshaped you quietly, powerfully, permanently. Pressure creates separation. Separation between who reacts and who evolves. Between who complains and who adapts. Between who drifts and who develops discipline. Every difficult season gives you a choice: collapse or sharpen. Most people never realize that pressure is often preparing them for the life they prayed for. The responsibility, the opportunity, the influence, all of it requires strength. Strength requires development. Development requires pressure. Without pressure, potential remains undeveloped. The strongest identities are built through resistance. That resistance refines focus, refines patience, refines emotional control. And emotional control changes outcomes. You cannot control every challenge, but you can control the meaning you assign to it. Meaning changes perception. Perception changes action. Action changes future. Pressure can either destroy identity or forge it into something stronger. The choice belongs to you. If this message reached you at the right time, stay connected to ReMyndU, because some of the hardest seasons in your life may not be sent to break you. They may be the pressure required to transform you into someone strong enough to carry the future you once prayed for.